The previous evening's Apple occasion was odd. I had been foreseeing this show for some time, generally anticipating having the option to quit advising individuals not to purchase a Mac, since everything was so obsolete. However, despite the fact that what I saw was fascinating, it truly feels like Apple has lost its direction. It's unusual, there's nothing in reality amiss with what Apple declared. USB-C on the Mac is extraordinary, a more slender, all the more remarkable machine is charming, and, while it's too soon to state, the touch bar might be a contrivance, however it could be valuable for helping individuals find what easy routes exist as they utilize the PC. The thing is, I can't make sense of who this is for other than the individuals who are on extremely old machines. Myself, and every other person, is by all accounts considering what, precisely, is the selling purpose of this redesign. I have a MacBook Pro 15 inches from 2013. It's despite everything going solid, and most of the time it's connected to a huge presentation for innovative work, coding or whatever. Contact Bar is an incredible case of this. To start with, it feels like a reason to not simply add Contact to the Mac in any case. While Microsoft is caught up with letting you contact the whole presentation, Apple's making you look down at your console to collaborate. Rather strange. In any case, the ace in Apple's gadgets isn't even exact any longer. It used to be the best notepad available for creatives, engineers and individuals with large prerequisites. One glance at this slide shows Apple has no clue precisely where its segment lies. Do you need the Pro or the Pro? Which one is for pros? I'm befuddled. The MacBook Air is dead, which is extraordinary news, yet for what reason are there two MacBook Pro 13 inches presently? The main distinction would one say one doesn't have the touch strip, however why not simply consider it the new MacBook Air to reduce disarray? Including an extra choice, without the touch bar was a savvy move. I was talking with various companions on Slack during the occasion, who all said they'd purchase the new Mac in the event that you could get it with a typical capacity push. At that point, Apple dropped this and they were intrigued. Be that as it may, as a last screw you for those that get this, it has two less ports, more slow memory and a more awful GPU, and to include them back it's fundamentally a similar cost. The way that Apple itself considered the MacBook Pro as a contender to the MacBook Air shows it's not so much a pro. At Lapcat Software. What video editors will do alters on a minor touch bar underneath the screen? What DJ, like Apple Illustrated, needs to utilize a minor touch bar to blend their music when the activity is on the screen? The occasion additionally left Apple with a huge amount of odd remaining details. At the iPhone occasion in September, Apple told the world that earphone jacks were dead since remote earphones are prevalent, so why would that be an earphone jack on the Mac? Far more atrocious, Apple has postponed its remote earphones, which should change the world. From that point, the inquiries simply get considerably progressively strange. For what reason wouldn't you be able to plug the Lightning earphones that come in the iPhone confined to the new Mac? For what reason doesn't the iPhone accompany the correct link for the new MacBook Pro? For what reason doesn't Apple make a screen that appropriately works with its own gadgets? For what reason did Apple feature how extraordinary the touch bar is for messaging, however didn't port the majority of the new iMessage highlights to macOS appropriately? Do I need to convey two sets of earphones now? How would I charge my Lightning Link mouse? Why expel the HDMI port, a standard that is still extraordinarily mainstream for connecting to TVs? Why evacuate the SD card, a well-known opening for creatives utilizing cameras? Watching somebody DJ with the highest point of a console was simply humiliating, doubly so from the organization that makes the iPad, and as of late as the current year's WWDC flaunted its capacity to be utilized by dazzle individuals. Surprisingly more terrible, what took such a long time to get to this point? Numerous individuals have been sitting tight a year or more for a revive, and this itself wasn't even that striking. The new MacBook Pro has a Skylake chip, not the Kaby Lake one that is as of late landed. On the off chance that you take a gander at benchmarks at the top end, it's quite clear something isn't right. The CPU in this MacBook Pro really seems to perform more regrettable than the more established one. CNET addressed Apple's advertising head, Phil Schiller, who stated, showcasing boss Phil Schiller, programming building lead Craig Federighi and top creator Johnny Ive clarified, in elite meetings not long ago, why the Mac matters. Since they express it's so imperative to Apple, we asked them for what good reason it took 4 years, 4 months and 16 days to convey what they call an achievement and a major advance forward for its best-in-class PCs. The schedule isn't what drives any of the choices, Schiller says in an hour-and-a-half preparation at Apple's Central Station in Cupertino, California. We challenge the groups to accomplish incredible work and now and again that extraordinary work should be possible in 1 year, once in a while it takes 3 years. What we truly care about is making new developments in the Mac and proceeding with the story that has truly characterized Apple for such a large number of years. What does that even mean? It took 4 years to add a touch bar to the console, which postponed any significant advancement meanwhile. Apple's clients are those that need amazing machines, yet it deferred them unendingly for what adds up to a vanity venture that the center segment of Apple's clients likely won't use. This does, to be sure, address the lifespan of the machines that Apple sells. You can utilize a MacBook from 2012 at this moment and likely can't differentiate. In any case, in that lies the issue. The organization held up 4 years, at that point didn't generally convey any genuine future esteem other than it's new. The size of the MacBook is maybe the most convincing part. The other confounding part of the occasion was the sheer absence of anything fascinating for existing Mac proprietors. No new adornments, how cool would a Bluetooth variant of the Touch Bar be, and no personal computers. Presently you have a maturing iMac with old ports, an extremely outdated Mac Pro and a lot of strange old adornments that haven't been contacted in years, goodness, and around 1 million dongles whenever you need to connect something. I think in case you're taking a gander at a PC, for what reason would you purchase a PC any longer? No, truly, for what reason would you get one? Tim Cook, discussing the iPad Pro. The uplifting news is there's at long last an advanced Mac accessible, regardless of whether there are some little trade-offs. I simply trust that Apple keeps up the pace starting now and into the foreseeable future. For the last 2 years it's been excruciating disclosing to somebody that Apple will definitely refresh its machines soon. All things considered, USB-C is something to be thankful for. Somebody needs to do it, and hop in the profound end, however the manner in which Apple has done it by compelling you into a corner to manage it yourself as opposed to making it a simple progress, and you don't get the full force link in the container any longer. Fearlessness by means of Twitter. For an organization that highly esteems biological system, and thinking about the start to finish understanding, Apple has absolutely lost its direction. Recently, the world got an emphasis on something the organization's been doing from the beginning, instead of something that is a dream for what's to come. Apple spent the whole occasion contrasting itself with its own past, instead of indicating us the future, and, after it's all said and done, painted a reasonable picture. It has no clue who the Mac is for. Dwindle Kern composed the previous evening that it was difficult to watch the Apple occasion. Apple's over-the-top maritime looking in the Mac occasion today says a lot. This is an organization with no genuine vision for what its most innovative clients really do with their most progressive machines. Along these lines, rather, they investigate the past. The Mac made its name since it grasped the imaginative business where Microsoft missed the vessel, yet in 2016, it appears as though it will pass up the following wave altogether. The refreshed Mac isn't reasonable for the substantial designs, augmented reality or 3D work it's so popular for being acceptable at. Is the new MacBook a somewhat fascinating move up to the former one? Truly. Would I get it in the event that I was in the market? Presumably. In any case, honestly, there's essentially no motivation to this moment on the off chance that you effectively own a Mac that functions admirably, and just because I'd at any rate consider looking elsewhere before getting it. Apple, it appears, is plotting for the beginner imaginative and isn't keen on whatever else any longer. It needs the market that sits in cafes with its image and just purchases Apple, however wouldn't fret so a lot if the center segment vanishes. Possibly that is okay, there's most likely acceptable cash in it, yet it's a genuine disgrace. At the point when the 12 inches MacBook was discharged, I thought it was quite forward-looking. Apple had delivered a machine that was both outlandishly little, had various intriguing new ideas, and even took the fortitude to drop all ports for a solitary USB-C port, an intense move. It is anything but an ideal machine, yet it's a glance at an existence where you can have an entire PC in your sack and not notice it. To me, the occasion the previous evening was Apple attempting to remind the world it thinks about the Mac, yet more than everything else the connotation was this: Apple possibly thinks about the Mac when it's advantageous, yet and, after it's all said and done, it's clearly not considering the effect it has.